Yep. What's going on? It's your favorite podcasters, Ja and
It's Neci.
People's Champ is here with us. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Tonight we'll be talking to Candice Cave, my favorite
Mhm.
shit starter.
I'm sure she is.
She is also going to be on Same Difference and Friends Part 2. Again, we coming back for you. Hit you again September 27th and 28th. It's a 2-day event. She's gonna be on the panel once again. I will be on the panel again. We got Marcus, we got Dan Moody, and we will release the other panelists as we get them. All right, so keep that in mind. Right now, I try and get Nisi to moderate again because she did such a great job. So I gotta go ahead and big up in the comments. Make her feel good. Come on. Can you tell them why Candace is coming? What we got going on tonight?
We're talking about 100 dates in 100 days.
A
Seeing
hundred.
what a dating scene is about.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever
Wondering
been
on
on
the
a bunch of
streets.
dates?
No, I don't have that much patience, but no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Mm-mm.
Candice Cave is coming on, and we also have the unorthodox Southern Belle of Gentlemanstyle Podcast, Karmea. Well, she is also coming on. She's a beautiful model. Now she's an actress as well, so she's doing big things and a podcaster, and probably like 6 other jobs. She's coming on because she was curious to find out what is up with 100 dates in 100 days, and that is Candice Cave's podcast. We want to find out. We've had her on before. She's returning, but we want to know what's going on now. What's she gonna do since? Because we gotta check her relationship status to see if it worked, and then we're gonna go from there. We're gonna be right back with you though, right after these messages. Yeah. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome, welcome.
Hey guys. I
Do you
like
want
how
to
I'm the
introduce
number
yourselves?
one shit starter. I like that.
I'm number
Don't
two. I'm number two.
don't stop. We ain't even 5 minutes in. Don't stop.
Ay, ay, ay. I'm gonna make you and Marcus gonna be the shit starters on
Mm,
your
no,
partner.
I'm gonna be cool.
I've been voted. I voted.
So
I
cool.
I've been labeled too many things. Somebody else could take it. After the water bottle, I don't want no more drama. I'm out.
We just won't
If
give you water or anything else to
they're
drink.
gonna leave me up there thirsty,
You're gonna be dehydrated.
Correct.
damn.
Correct.
damn.
So I'm
You wanna?
Candice from 100 Dates in
There
100
we
Days.
go.
If you want us to introduce ourselves.
Hmm.
I started this podcast because I had been married for an extremely long time. And then I had started going out into the dating scene. Originally, it wasn't supposed to be a podcast. It was just me actually getting back out there and dating. I used to download with my girlfriend and she about my dating experiences, like the things that I went through, how the date went. You know, you come home, you download. And she laughed. She was like, "You're going to end up on 100 dates before you meet somebody that you actually like." So the 100 days to
Mm.
100 days started off as a joke, right? Like nobody actually thought that I would go on 100 dates. But the clear misconception is that everybody thinks that 100 dates equals 100 people. It was not 100 people. It was 6 solid people in round one of 100 dates and 100 days. I was living in St. Louis at the time. So I call the first round like my getting my footing, like losing my fins and getting my feet, because until I actually started dating, I didn't know what I wanted out of dating. I didn't know. I thought I did. I walked in knowing or thinking that I knew what I wanted. But after being married for that long and not dating prior, because coming from the Virgin Islands, like I didn't date, right? You meet somebody, you like them, you hook up, you're married, you have kids, or you have kids and you're married. I didn't do the courting process. So in round one, that's what I did. I did the courting process, and through that, I found a lot of things about myself. Like I realized what it is that I wanted out of dating, what my true expectations were. I was able to boundary set, which I think is really important. And then I also coined what I considered the dating phase, and recognizing that there's different phases when you meet somebody, right? Like the talking phase, the getting to know you phase, the dating before we enter the relationship phase. All of those things I found in round one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for introducing the podcast and what it's about and explaining it. Hey, good night, Michael. I want to say before we go any further, please, please, Candice has been known to have some controversial views. So I'm going to hit you guys with this disclaimer. Please keep it respectful in the comments. I know I've never done it before because I could take wherever you dish out and then I'm going to DM me. I'm blocking. All right. It's cool, but like I don't want for my guests to feel like this is a hostile area. No, it's not technically a safe space, but I don't want it to be hostile either. All right, so please, please, please be respectful in the comments. Understand this is someone's opinion, their perspective, and their values. Don't try to instill yours on them. All right, it's not that serious. All right, Miss Wells, you
Ooh.
want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Karmea Wells, the Unorthodox Southern Belle. I am a co-host on the Gentlemanstyle Podcast. I am also a plus size model, actress, and some other things as well. But it's coming out.
So you actually were the curious one that wanted to find out as soon as
Yes,
you heard 100 days, 100 days, right?
I would love to know. Well, I'm sorry. Y'all have the question y'all wanted to ask first?
You ready to get this thing started? Kick it
Let's
out.
go. Let's
So when we're
go.
talking about 100 dates, 100 days. When you thought about that, was it something just off the fling, or you actually wanted an end goal to this process?
No, like I said, it actually started out with me being interested in people, right? Like trying to figure out like what dating looked like. So I went on dating apps. I met people in grocery stores. I did it the traditional, what would have been considered the traditional way originally. And then I found that like I was wasting a lot of time, right? You would talk to somebody for a couple weeks and then realize that your values didn't align. And then now that's wasted time, right? So I figured like we don't do anything else in ones, so why do we date in ones, right? And I think it was a learned behavior of mine. I was taught that you're only supposed to talk to one person because that's ladylike, right? But if I'm not sleeping with you, I'm not in a relationship with you, you're not coming to my house, you're not meeting my kids, like why am I only talking to you? So I met with a life coach, and we kind of discussed like what my expectations of dating was. So he kind of guided me through it, and we talked about it. He talked to me about like different relationship statuses, like polygamy and polyamory and the traditional, what we consider traditional relationships. And he asked me like, what makes sense to you? So I had to really sit down with myself and ask myself, like, what makes sense? Like, what is going to work? What's going to make me happy? And then the 100 dates kind of just happened. But as I was counting it, I was like, oh, shoot, I'm at 60 right now. Am I really going to make it to 100? And I did.
So the Virgo in me wants to ask, how did you plan this out? Was this like a family tree type situation, a chart situation?
What?
How did the graph look for these people? I need to. How did
So
the
I
graph
blogged
look?
about
The
them.
time frames.
I blogged about them. So that's how this originally started. I was blogging, right? I was blogging about like where we see red flags when we first meet somebody. Like in the first conversation, we'll see red flags, but we'll be like, oh, he makes good money. He's good to his mom. He is extremely handsome. And we continue to date this person. So like as I was blogging, I started putting like where the red flags were in our conversations,
System.
right? Yeah, I was putting the red flags and I was saying, why am I still dating this man? Like I see all of these red flags. Like this is not gonna go anywhere. But I continued. They didn't disrespect me. They didn't do anything intentionally to hurt me. They didn't cheat on me, or you know what I mean? Like none of the things that we're told we're supposed to leave people for. Like he didn't beat me. He never raised his voice to me, but I'm seeing the red flags. Like they're everywhere. They're just like flaring up. So as I was blogging every night, kind of like journaling, right? I'm seeing like, I've been on 20 dates with this dude and I saw red flags on day one. Like, what are you doing? So that's how I kept it. And then I think I would always, in the beginning, I was just waiting for them to do something specifically to me. Like you're waiting for them to mess up. Like if he's doing all these things, eventually he's going to say something bad to me. And then I had to ask myself, like, why are you waiting for him to do it to you? Like he's doing it already. Like just walk away. But it was difficult for me to walk away because I was coming out of a marriage that I had been in for so long, that I had stayed in way longer than I should have. I didn't have the capability of walking away at that point. But the blog is essentially how I kept order of who I was dating, how I was dating, how many dates we had been on.
Got it.
So when you said you put up red flags, did you actually mark them somewhere?
In the actual blogs, I put red flags, like the actual flag.
Okay.
I would be like, I went on a date with such and such, and he was disrespectful to the waiter, red flag. And then I would just continue to talk about the date, and I would just keep putting like where his red flags were.
Dang.
Because it was things that didn't align with my values, but he wasn't disrespectful to me. He was disrespectful to the waiter. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
go
it was
ahead,
like,
Neci.
just go ahead.
Got you. Neci, you had a question?
So, I have a few questions. I have lots of questions, actually. I'm quite interested.
Go for it.
Not in the whole, like, I get the structure, but I guess my question would be, like, when you talk about the red flag, I think, every person has a red flag in them or capable of generating a red flag. So, you have your conditions for what your flags are. What are you looking at in terms of like, okay, this is like, is it going against like your core values? And you're like, okay, he done check off like 3 things against my values. Like this is a no-go for me, versus some people can work on things. And sometimes people are just kind of awkward in dating. Not that they're bad people, they're just awkward in dating. So how do you differentiate the whole like process when you was doing your blogs?
So I worked with a life coach, right? And when I first walked into the life coach, the first thing he asked me is, what are you looking for in a relationship? And I was like, honesty. And then I stopped. And he was like, that's it? And I was like, yeah, because I could work through anything as long as somebody's honest with me. And he was like, so he could beat you, he could cheat on you, he could steal your money, he could kill you, he could rape your kids, he could do anything as long as he's honest. And I was like, well, that's not what I said. He was like, well, that's exactly what you said. Like, you're not setting enough boundaries for yourself. So he said, go home, write a list down of all the things that you would truly want in a relationship. And it's okay to be selfish. And he said, everything that you write down, nothing is too much, right? Write it down, come back. So the following week, I went back, I gave him the list. Now the list is like 3 pages. I went from honesty to 3 pages worth of stuff. And he was like, okay, so this is unrealistic. Like, this is unrealistic expectations. So he said, prioritize your list. The first 5 things on the list have to be your non-negotiables. No matter what they do, no matter how good they are to you, these 5 things, if they do any of these things, walk away. Right? He was like, you're going to find strength in being able to walk away. So I prioritized the list, the first 5 things, which have changed over the past couple of years, like since I've started the process. So it's important to like reevaluate your list every once in a while. But red flags are common. I have 17,000 of them, right? Nobody's perfect, but I had to decide which red flags were my non-negotiables. So even though these people were presenting with a lot of flags, until they did one of the 5 that were my non-negotiables, I stayed in it and continued to get to know them. Because you're right, they could be awkward. I could have made them nervous or something along those lines. So
yeah, because sometimes people be like, oh, they have a red flag. And I'd be like, yeah, but everybody get flags. Like, no, it just depends on the person's point of view and what they're looking at and their experience and what their values or their goals are. They could look at another person and be like, oh, they have a red flag too. So I want you to explain that for people who are always talking about like the red flag concept. Like, it's more than, if you have a whole troop of red flags in a parade, is a different story. But you can also have one big flag in a single entry, one big entry, and take up the whole parade too. So, the flags could just be like, some could be like light pink, some could be like heavy red, some could be the skull, like whatever the flag is. you know,
Yeah.
you gotta be able to decipher that for yourself and for others. And then, as you said, you work with a life coach. My other thought is, how difficult was it for you to then implement what you know now that what you want versus your typical experience of what you're accustomed to dating?
Oh, Jesus. I think that was the hardest thing in the world. I think I started
Mhm.
going to therapy after working with a life coach because not only was I finding the red flags in them, but I was actually recognizing my own red flags, right? I was
Mm.
recognizing like the things that I had said that I didn't want for myself, that I was doing them. I had recognized how toxic I was in certain environments. Because one of the toxic things trait that I had is, yeah, I didn't walk away, but I was going to torture you while you stayed, right? Like I was going to be disrespectful to you mentally every time you walked through the door. Like that was one of my biggest red flags at that point. So like I had to unpack a lot of that stuff while I was going through the process, right? I couldn't just be like, you. I had to
What about
recognize what
me?
I was doing,
Mhm.
right? And why I was attracting the type of people that I said that I didn't want, because we attract what we put out, right? So if you continue to be a negative person, you're going to attract negative people. Like you can't help that, because what they say, cats and dogs don't hang out with each other. You're gonna find those people even if you're not intentionally doing it, just because the energy that you're putting out into the world, right? So that's why one of the things I have now is like, I'm not open to people that are ignorant, who aren't able to like accept that their way isn't always the right way. Like once we start having those everybody does this type conversations, I'm out. Like I don't even want to talk no more.
Carmel, what
So,
you got?
so with your 100 dates, for 100 days, did you get to your end goal of what you was trying to do
I
with
think
this
so.
process,
I
or the
definitely think
person
so.
that you wanted
Wait, what
with
was
this?
the end
So
goal?
so the end goal was to date, right? That's ultimately what it came down to. I wanted to find a relationship, but I also wanted to know how to date. I had never done it, right? I had never done it. I had been married and never dated. That was crazy to me. And at this point, I'm in my late 30s and I've never been on a real date. Like I've been on group dates, I've been on couple dates, but I had never been on a date where I had been swooned. So yes, I definitely met people who had swooned the shit out of me. So, and I learned what my expectation of dating was. I learned how to date. So I definitely think the end goal was met. I met all of the people who I thought I wanted, right? Like I think sometimes we make a
Mm.
list of like, this is what I want my man to have, and this is gonna be the perfect man for me.
Hold up,
So
hold up,
list.
hold up, hold up, hold up. Don't skip over
Mhm.
that. Don't skip over that. Say
Nah,
that
she's
one more
getting
time.
it. I'm
Say
ready.
that
I'm
one more time.
ready.
Say that one more time. You
I
meant what?
met I met the man that I wanted on paper, right? On paper,
Mm.
he met all of my requirements. He checked every single block that I could have thought about. I met a couple of those actually. The problem is a personality type that comes with all of the things that I wanted, right? And the personality type I didn't consider. And when I got that personality type, I was like, ooh, can I lay next to him every day for the rest of my life? Like forever, ever? He has
So,
everything. He makes good money. He doesn't have any drama in his life. He loves his mama. What just happened? Oh, okay. He loves his mama. Like all of the things on paper, check. Spiritually, he knows how to dress. He smells good. His house is clean. Found out later he had a maid, but his house was clean, so it didn't matter. Um, but
I
all of
would
the
think the
things on
maid would be a plus.
I was like, can she come by me he or she come by me? Like,
That's
geez,
a plus.
no, I
that's
even
a
asked that after. Well, I was like, how many days a week does she come
that's
here?
a definite
Because
keeper,
I'm always
Candice. Just
there,
a
and the house
maid.
is
I'm
always
sold.
immaculate. But that personality type that came with that bad boy, he was so arrogant. He had like a
oh,
almost like a godlike personality.
so
Like,
that
and
upgrade,
What
you
I
get some
mean?
he
more bugs
achieved
worked
everything
out.
that he had set for himself. He built his house from scratch. He took me there every week so I could see the foundation of his 17th house that he done built. Like he was an
I
engineer, so like he
mean,
was very meticulous.
I
I get
mean,
it, but like I But one of the things that was missing, and I guess everything,
Uh,
he had everything, but
uh,
that
I would have flexed a
personality
little
type.
bit too on your ass too. I ain't gonna lie. I would have flexed a
I'm
bit
just,
too.
Yeah.
My maid's coming over
But
that's
he,
where
today.
it
I
comes in
the
at.
gotta.
sad
Sometimes
part
you
is
gotta
he
hit that.
didn't recognize that he was flexing, right? And one, so the value of mine that he didn't have, and that was the biggest thing to me. He was an alcoholic, right?
Ooh,
Um,
red flag, crimson red.
so, and that's a big deal for me. Like, that's a really, really big deal for me when you have like a controlled substance abuse issue, right? So we would have all these really great dates. We would spend so much time together. We would have all these conversations. And then the next day he would go out with his boys. He would get so drunk that like he would call me and be like, I'm somewhere and I don't know where I am. Can you come pick me up? Like, you're grown. How the fuck did you get that drunk? Like, I just talked to you. He was hitting people's cars on the way home. Like, it was crazy. So like,
Yeah, he's a
all of his
liability.
things was aligned except for that. And then his excuse was, well, I'm from New Orleans and that's what we do. We drink.
Definitely not.
Mm,
All of them ain't like
mm,
that.
Is that on your birth
What?
certificate?
exactly. So
So hold
with
up,
all
hold up.
those things that he had aligned, I had to ask myself, like is the alcoholism going to be too much for me? And it was.
I have a question. How
Mhm.
sure are you that he was a certified alcoholic? Because I would think
No,
that if you're an alcoholic like that, you wouldn't be able to maintain the other things in your life. You get what I'm saying?
there's
Like
functional alcoholics. There's functional alcoholics. And I
Yeah.
dated him the longest. I dated him for about 7 months. So I'm sure.
it was a maid,
I'm
wasn't
Look, I never met her. I wish she would have came to my house.
7 months, she would have been at my house.
Yeah. Well, he never been to my house. I'm very particular about who comes to my house. So
And so
it?
am I.
7
So I
months
agree. I don't need him to come. I need the maid to come.
for
that's
7
it.
months.
Yeah. So he had an issue with that also. But he didn't tell me while he was sober. And that's what I had an issue with. Like, he had an issue with the fact that he had come to my house in 7 months, but he never said it to me while he was sober. He would always bring it up when he was drunk. And it's
You
like,
need a
I
liquid
get drunk
courage to
man
do
tells the
that.
truth. But like, I need you to tell me like when you're sober so we can have a real conversation about it. My kids live at my house. My kids have never met another man but their father. So no, you can't come here. This is their safe space.
Mm.
I agree
And
with you 1,000%.
I respect you for
My
that
home is my safe
as
space. My
well.
kids live there. You're not coming over here.
Because there's a lot of women who
To
just
do
have
what? You got a
any and
house
every
by
man
yourself
around their
where you
children.
live with no children. This is our vacation. Like, let's come over here. Let's chill out. I'll
This
cook
ain't
you dinner. Sit down.
this ain't Queen Louise. I ain't taking in no or orphans
No
off the
stress.
street. I'm
I
good.
know that's right.
And so I dated him the longest. So we were definitely transitioning into the like, I want to be in a relationship with you. So can I deal with the alcoholism? And I just
So then
couldn't do
it
it.
so then it wasn't a deal breaker for you at the time, but since you've learned that it is. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, so alcoholism was always a issue for me, right? Because that's one of the first things I always ask people. The first thing I ask people when we're dating is like, do you drink? Do you smoke? Right? I don't feel like he was honest with his answer. And like I said, I never personally seen him drunk because when we're out together, he says he drinks to my capacity, right? So like he could drink a bottle of wine and not be drunk when he's
So
with
he's
me.
gauging what you do.
Exactly.
Mm.
So I
That's
don't
how
feel like he was.
that's how he hit it. But for the 7 months, it's gonna be hard for somebody like that to hide it for long term. But for short
Exactly.
term, he'll just be looking at you while you drink. Like I I'll take it as much as you do it.
Yeah.
But 7
But then the
months he'll
next
show
day,
all
it's
his
like he
cards.
couldn't take it anymore. So he would binge, right? Like he would binge because like I only drank this
Yeah.
much when I was with you. So now I gotta binge and I gotta black out. Like that's crazy to me. Like it's Tuesday. The fuck?
Yeah, he has some underlying issues. Everyone
Emmanuel
lies on
Hodge
dates.
says everyone lies on dates. LOL. Is that true?
Everybody
I
likes
don't think
period.
everyone lies. I don't think
Everyone
that
lies,
everyone
but
lies.
I absolutely ain't
Every
gonna lie.
single person walking the face of the earth lies.
No,
Whether
no,
it's a
no.
good wait,
We
wait,
talk
whether
about
it's a
on
good
dates.
lie, if it's a good lie, we don't ever call it lies. If I lied, lie like, oh, I can't come to your graduation, but my son I gave, but I secretly flew up to surprise you. That's a lie. But we don't call
We're,
those things lies because
I'm
it was a
talking.
positive impact. But everybody lies.
I'm talking
Now the
about
detriment to your
dates.
life is
We
different.
talking
Dates.
about dates, you know. We talking about
No,
straight
I know,
dates.
but
That's
I'm
it.
just saying everybody lies on dates. Everyone tries to present themselves in the best possible way for you to be able to be attracted to them. And you
Mhm.
don't see people in their comfort zone, which is also a lie, because not everybody goes out on all these dates to like when they're in relationships. Like we go on dates to get to know a person, but then after the comfort zone that we live together, we move in, we don't really go out that much because in your normal life, you don't go out that much. So then it's like, oh, you don't take me out like you used to. We don't, but normally they don't even go out like that on a reel. They just did it to meet you, and now they have you. It's like,
So
be
I'll
comfortable.
say this. I'll say this. I guess I used to be the kind of person that would tell little white lies to like make you feel better about yourself. I am no longer
Mm.
and haven't been that person in a long time. I present myself as I am on day one, first date. I'm telling you and asking you all the hard questions because I don't want to waste my time, right? So like, and I don't want to waste your time either. And so I
Your
tell
time.
people, I tell people like, I what my expectations, because John, earlier we talked about like how soon is it to talk to somebody about like the whole carrying the
Pregnancy.
baby type thing, right? Like I think you should talk about that on day one. Like, do you plan on having
Yeah,
children, any more children
Day
in the event
one?
that we have? Yeah,
I
if you
definitely
get
agree.
pregnant tonight, like what would you do? I'm
Tonight, day
telling you
one?
Tonight.
I don't know
because
about that.
but
Okay,
I think
wait.
it's
I don't
important
know
to
about
like
getting the physical
ask
stuff,
people, but just
but
ask them how, because it tells you where their mindset is, right? Like if you ask somebody if tonight I get pregnant, right? If their intention was to fuck you on day one, they gonna engage in that conversation immediately. Like, let me tell you.
Fellas, disclaimer. Do not bring up pregnancy unless you're about to drop the drawers immediately. Because if you say, what if you get pregnant tonight? That is a turn off. You have to know that you're gonna at least get some. All
Yeah,
right.
so but
Don't
here's the
don't
thing.
just bring up pregnancy because you don't see it like you're bringing up sex. All right.
So here's the thing with me. I know that my personality is strong, right? I know that. So I know that whoever ends up with me long term has to have a
oh
strong
my god,
personality.
oh my god.
So to butt heads, won't that butt heads a strong personality, a strong personality?
No. So like I think that strong personalities, they do one or two things. Yeah, you can potentially butt heads, but you also have to be, I think, immature strong heads, but like have a personality clash, right? I think that when you develop who you are as a person, like and what you want and what you're looking for, like alphas have to be with alphas. I can't be with a beta. Like that's not gonna work for me because then you're always gonna be insecure about what I'm doing, what I'm saying. You're gonna make up stories about what you think I'm doing. Like it's a lot, and I can't do it.
I know Neci got something to say about that alpha business. Go ahead.
Let
Go
me
ahead.
hear it.
Oh no, that's just saying. I don't. I
But
mean, I do.
not
I
necessarily.
disagree, Candice, but that's your point, and I respect your point about the process.
Why do you disagree though, ma'am?
Because
Why?
an
Tell me. I
because
mean, because everybody's experiences
alpha
are
by
different.
definition, an alpha by definition is a leader of a pack or a herd. Is the leader. It's a singular person. So for me, when a person says that they're alpha, and I don't dispute anyone saying they're an alpha, whatever you are, but an alpha can only lead people that follows them, and so somebody has to follow. And I'm not saying that the woman has to be the one to follow, but what I would say is that you cannot be a hunt like this just an alpha. Now, if I'm an alpha at my job, where I'm just a boss and I go in there and I kick ass, and then I know like you're an alpha in your finances, and I know like in a relationship, my job is where I'm the alpha. When it comes to our finances, I know you got that. You're gonna kick ass. I'm gonna follow your leadership and your guidance for our finances. When it comes to the kids, you're gonna follow. I mean, if I'm the person that I'm gonna follow the kids. Like, okay, I got you. You're gonna lead the kids. I'm gonna support your decision with the kids. That's how I see that alpha situation work. But people just say like, "Oh, I'm an alpha, and I have to be with an alpha." How that. That's not how that works out for me, and from my understanding of the
No. I
definition and the
absolutely
example.
agree. I absolutely agree. So, but you heard what you said. You're alpha in one realm of your life, right?
Mhm.
So you're not gonna be an alpha in everything. Nobody's perfect at everything. So it's
That,
important to
you,
figure out what that person's strengths are, what your strengths are, and then y'all balance each other, right?
you
That's the
know
whole
them do that be like, I's an alpha, you gotta follow me. Follow you where?
to hell.
Where?
Off the
To
cliff.
hell.
Where we going?
But
To the apart? Where we going?
You see, this is why you shouldn't be with no Virgo, Cause anytime you mention anything, they get questions. Hey, baby,
no, no,
we
no.
gotta go. Where? Who's shooting? Why?
Right?
What we
No,
driving?
because
I
we
gonna drive?
I
You gonna
need to
drive? We
know
get
how.
gas?
I need to know
No.
what
First,
form I need to
no,
be in when shit happens. I need to
no,
know. That's why I have these questions. I need to know directly what form I need to be in when shit happens. You're not about to just hit me with something and I don't know what's coming.
Man, listen. They start shooting in the club. Just go where I tell you, please. God.
What door?
So that's the conversation you
What
have
door are we
before you
going
go into
to?
the club. You
What
said, babe, in
exit?
the event that
Can't be
we're
that.
not
I
in a
know what
safe
the exits
situation.
are,
Well,
Them
babe. It's
Virgos
something
getting
happen.
shot. What you were saying?
I'm gonna
Them
meet you over
Virgos shot.
here.
What you were saying, Candice?
I said that's why you have the conversations beforehand. Like when you drive into the club, you be like, babe, in the event that something kick off, just hold my hand. Let's go. Right? Because then they already know that's the plan. The plan is before we went in. You don't have conversations with your kids before you go in the grocery store,
Okay,
right?
no,
Don't
no.
ask me for shit when you go inside this fucking store. That's
That's a
planning.
horrible freeze for Karmea. There she goes. Oh my god.
I
That's
hate
planning.
this.
So you do the same thing.
So you see, that's why. Okay, first of all, the submission thing, I really don't like the term, and it's
Ooh,
being overused. But
abuse,
hold on. Okay,
abuse.
it's being abused, right? But if we use it correctly, submission doesn't just go one direction all the time. Like Nisi, I think, was alluding to, you submit to who is better at that time. If the person is better with finances, that it doesn't always be the woman submit, submit, submit. If you know you to just walk and bring home your check, do not gain the finance discussion. Okay, babe, I spend the money on this. Okay, cool. Here's a check. You get what I'm saying? Like, if I deal with the car, do like when I tell you, hey, we need to change them brakes, don't, it's submission time for you. I got this. So like we need to learn what it means when we say things, and we need to unlearn just copying people when they say things.
Yeah.
It's called strength and weaknesses. That's what they,
Yeah.
understand.
That's the conversations that people need to have while they're dating, right? Do you
Absolutely.
like
Mm-hmm.
somebody asked today on their page, do you prefer a man that cooks or a man that fix shit? I was like, fix shit, please. Right? Because I don't know how to fix shit. So I want a man that knows how to fix shit. Like, why both of us don't bring the same strength to the relationship? That's crazy. Like, I could already cook. I need you to bring the things that I don't know how to do so we could complement each other. Not so we could both be competing in the kitchen. That's crazy. You cook today? No, you cook today. No, you. But who gonna fix this fucking car?
I know that's right. Ain't that wrong with
If
that?
you don't have if you can't fix it, you gotta have at least two mechanics in your portfolio you could call at any time to get it done. Like, it doesn't have to be you physically doing
Or
it, but you
you
have
can
the
learn.
capability of getting it
You
done.
can learn.
Which, as long as I could pay for it and I'm taking it in, don't ask me the questions. Like, I need to learn. I need to like go to school. I need to get under the car.
No,
Oh,
when
you want it
I've
done?
had so many people experience it. Even my own honey bunny, he would actually learn it and go out there and do it. Some people can pick it up like that. I know, like I have family members who have learned how to fix cars and never went to school to do it. It's just in them to know it, break it down, and like, oh, I
That's
know what I'm
awesome.
doing. Let me slide up
Mhm.
under there. I'm not saying everybody can do that. Don't you go out there and take a car
Please.
apart and you can't put it together. Don't you do that.
They
But
cut my brakes by
some
accident.
people are right.
By an
Some
accident.
people can do that. They can learn, like, I know what I'm doing and slide up under there and get it done. Now, as I
But
said before, this is a disclaimer. If you don't know how to put it back, don't touch it. Do not touch it.
but that's them expectations that get set on men. Like, you're a man,
No,
you should know
no,
it or be able to
no.
learn it. And it's like, you
That's not
want to take
what
your chances on your brake lanes with me? All right.
I
You sure you want me to take it?
Nope.
I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you feel like you can and you've experienced this before of learning to do things and you can do it, okay. But we need to go through a test run and see something small first.
Go fix that bike tire outside. Ain't got no air in it.
Let's start with changing the doggone signal light. Let's do that. Let's start with changing the signal light. Look up the YouTube. Let's see if you can take that apart and put it in and put it back together. We start here. Let's see how you do. Let's start.
I seen somebody say that egos are too big though, and that's the truth. A lot of people will say that they know how to do something that they have no clue on how to fix, and then now you're stuck. Now you gotta start looking for people because your house is flooded because they thought they could fix this, change the garbage.
And then they hit the wall and they hit the main water line and they don't even know. Now we our house flooded.
Right.
Exactly.
So when sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So when you're dating, right? So at this point, what people don't know, she didn't just do the 100 dates once. She did more than one round. Right? So I don't think we talked about that. So at this point in my book, just based off experience, she's an expert. So
I feel like I am. I've started writing my book.
What's the question?
So what you doing is more than once. I'm sorry. I didn't know that this was more than one round.
So this is second round. I'm on second round right now.
So with you doing this for the second round, what are your goals for the second round? Are they still the same or are there additional goals to the second round and the draft picks is different on the top?
The draft picks, right.
Are definitely different. The draft picks are definitely different. So I'm in a completely different region now. So I started off in Missouri. I'm in Florida now. So the dating pool in itself, the dating pool in itself has changed. But one of the things I did do is I went back and I looked at my list of expectations from dating and I revamped it, right? Because I've changed so much in that first round that like my expectations aren't even the same. One of the other things that I did was I got rid of the list. Like I got rid of the list of the dude that I'm looking for. Right?
He about to be blocked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he got.
I'm joking,
anyway.
man. I'm joking.
So I got rid of the list of the type of man that I'm looking for, right? Because I don't feel like there's a particular type of dude that's out there. I recognize now that I'm more of an energy type person than like the tangible things that you may have. So your energy has to make sense to me. Because like I said, that dude had everything, right? But his energy was off. So like round 2 has been different, only because the dating pool has been different and the way that people consider dating in Florida is different. They kind of have the mentality that we have back home. Like I met you, I hung out with you. Now I need to know your social security number. Let's get married tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah.
Definitely not. Absolutely not.
Another thing that I did in this round that I didn't think I would ever do, but I did. I went back through my history, right? I went back through everybody that I ever had a crush on from high school up, everybody that I had like missed opportunities with, like we may have dated, but we didn't really like let it bloom. My best friend calls it a world tour. I went back through my world tour, and I kind of revisited like situations that I had been in so that I could close doors. I feel like I didn't close any doors before, so I always had those like, what if I had done this, or what if that had worked? So I went through and I closed all of my doors now officially. So I don't have any missed opportunities, so that the person that I do end up with long term, I know is my person.
Interesting.
Here's something that Candice just brought up that I think people need to recognize when you're dating. The dating scene in different areas, it could be you move to a different city. If you move to a different state, different country, something like that, it's not going to be the same. Like, don't take what you learned in Atlanta to Alaska or to Texas, because the dating scene in cities alone are different. So please go out. You need to get to know the people there first, see how they move, see when, the particular areas are jumping and stuff like that, that increase your chances of meeting people. You need to learn the area. That's one thing I learned when I was in the military. Do not take what you learned in Florida to New York. You're going to look dumb.
You'll get shot. No, but it's definitely a different dating pool. The expectations of dating has changed for me. So it started to make me feel like maybe it's a culture thing, right? Like maybe I needed to date somebody from back home because we have the same cultures, we have the same belief, we have the same values, which is we all know that's not the truth, right? Like so from east to west we believe in different things. And then I've changed, right? I haven't lived home in 23 years. So like a lot of the way I see things from back home is just doesn't fit. So
What do you mean
we
it
have,
doesn't fit?
it just doesn't fit. So I you said something on one of your podcasts, like women want to date men and say that they want romance, but they're not dating romantic men, right?
Mhm.
And I think that what we believe to be romantic back home is not necessarily it's not and it doesn't meet like Disney movie
That's
criteria either,
facts.
right? Like we have to lay out what romance means to us. And I think people just say, I want romance or I want respect, but they don't explain what romance means. So that person could feel like they're being romantic, right? I took you home to meet my mama. What you mean I'm not being romantic? I don't want to meet that boy. No, I'm just playing. Um,
I was the
but
fifth one that month to meet him.
I'm joking. But I'm saying like what people's definition of romance is like you have to clearly lay it out. Like tell them what romance means to me. You buy me flowers, that's not romantic to me, right? But it might be romantic to the next person. So just tell people right up front, like this is what romance looks like to me. If they don't feel like that's something that they want to do, we also have the strength to walk away and not try to convince that person to do what we need. That's crazy to
So,
me.
question: you recommend telling someone that you're just now meeting what you expect? Isn't that kind of risky considering they might just mimic what you want?
So I don't give anybody a blueprint. I give no one a blueprint. I look at you, I have tough conversations with you, but then I walk away the minute I realize that like it's not for me. I don't try to convince you that you need to do it another way because what works for you works for you. It's been working for you for however long, or at least you feel like it is because you're still single, so obviously it wasn't working. But if it that's what you want to continue to do to find your person, then go for it. I have the strength to walk away, and what I've been getting from a lot of people in this round is like, you walking away for that? What do you mean? Like, you just gonna leave me? I ain't even do nothing to you. You just walk away for that? Yes, because it's not what I want. I don't want you to do anything different. I want you to be you.
Mhm.
I
Man,
agree. I
listen.
agree with you, Candice. I think that it's not everyone is strong minded enough to just walk away when they realize like this might not be it. Like people people are into the manipulation for personal selfish reasons, and sometimes it's just in a moment of need or whatever that might be. And we're not having those honest conversations up front. I don't feel like I need to be interrogated on a first date, but because I don't even know if I like you to be able to give you certain personal information about the things that I value. But I don't also tell people like if they ask me like what I'm looking for in a person, I'm not giving you like specifics. Like
Mhm.
I'll be very vague, which would be honest, but I'm not giving you specifics because I don't want you to pretend to be what I'm telling you I want.
Right.
I want to see who you are and see if that aligns with what I'm looking for. So I think that's a very important outlook that you're working through. And then my question would be in this round, you did six the first one. Are you doing six this round or are you just kind of open to
Past six
um
already. Jesus, I
okay.
passed six already. I've
Oof.
passed six already. So up until Friday, I actually was in a relationship. I had actually achieved what I thought my goal was. Yay. No, not so much. And not that he's a bad person.
No.
Not that he's a bad person. Let me send that out there in case he's watching too. He's not a bad person.
Does he
Again,
know?
I know what I want. I know what I want it to look like, right? Like what's gonna make me ultimately happy. Um, our values. So we dated when I was younger, right? He was my first boyfriend, my first everything. And we hadn't had a conversation in 24 years. Like I walked away from the relationship. He said I never broke up with him because I didn't have a breakup conversation. I just walked away, right? I saw some shit I didn't like, I walked away from it, and I avoided having a conversation with him for 24 years. I spoke to all his family members, everybody that I knew, but him I would not speak to. So when I came home for our Same Difference live podcast, I finally sat down, had a conversation with him,
and came back with a man in a
I
whole
came back with
relationship.
a man in a whole
I
relationship.
used to hang out with you when you were here. Jeez.
I came back with a whole man. But what he wanted to do was kind of like pick up from where we left off, right? I'm not that person anymore. So I kept saying, like, you have to get to know the new me. And he's like, well, I don't see that you changed that much. And I'm like, yeah, but I have. So you have to get to know the new me. And I think he just wanted to like skip all of that, right? Like, so he had got to the point where he came up here, he asked my father to marry me. Like he had just, it was moving like fucking lightning. And I was like, well, you're still not getting to know me, like the new me. And I really need you to focus in on that because I've changed a lot. Like, and I kept reiterating that like over and over again. And then we had a conversation about like romance and foreplay and dating and children and like a lot of different conversations, like the tough conversations like people should have, right? We had them and nothing was aligning, right? Everything was exactly the way it was when I was with him when I was 16, 17 years old. Like those were all the same. He was in the same place. He was stuck in that same place. I'm not there anymore. I don't want to go back there. I ain't like it there. Right. Okay. So before it became a thing where like we got to a stage where we started arguing with each other or fighting about it, or like I was just like, we were having a conversation one day and in the middle of the conversation, I was like, I'm walking away. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and walk away. And he was like, walk away from what? I was like, the relationship. And he was like, what? Like, where the fuck did that come from? And I was like, I'm listening to you, right? I hear everything that you're saying. This isn't going to work. Like we could pretend for a little while if you want to, right? But it's ultimately, it's not going to work. Like we're not going to go any further than this. And he got upset.
I'm sorry to hear it.
Yeah, he got upset, but you know,
she got us excited on Papa Bubble in the same breath. She was like,
I know.
It was
like no more 100 dates.
Bring it just back down, honey.
Well, and you know, I just know what I want, right? I know what it has to look like for me. And like romance is not as big for me, but like long distance is an issue, right? So long distance in itself, like you have to be able to have like open dialogue and open communication. And I think there's only so many things you could talk about when you live home. Like you're gonna start talking about what your neighbor's doing and what this person doing. And do you remember that person from 19? I don't know. My life ain't there. It's just it ain't there. So we didn't have any.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And you know what? This is the first time I'm saying this out loud. So like a lot of my family members, I see that they watching, and this is the first time they're gonna hear it because they just all like rekindled with him when he was here, because he was here for like a week. So everybody like rekindled with him, and I'm just like,
damn.
So what had happened was, but I do wish him the best, and I do wish that he finds, you know, the woman that is best for him. And when he does calm down and he understands, like I think he'll be able to reevaluate it and be like, you know what, Candice really wasn't for me.
Suppose he really realized that Candice is really what I want. I'm gonna make the changes to be with Candice.
That means he would have to change everything. Like he would have to change his religion.
Everything?
No. What I'm saying is like his belief system is different than mine, right? Like our belief systems are completely different.
That's
like,
a major situation.
Did she say change his religion?
No. I didn't say that I want him to do it. I'm saying in order, if he, Tanisha, Neci asked, say he was willing to change. If he was willing to change, then that means he would have to change everything about himself. I don't want him to do that. He has an entire belief system that doesn't align with mine, right? So like we both have locks on our head, but I'm drinking alcohol right now. So that tells you I'm not Rastafarian, right? Like
you don't drink alcohol?
No, no. And then our eating habits are different, like completely different. Again, he's a true Rastafarian. So I respect it. I respect the discipline. I respect everything that comes along with it. I'm not that disciplined. So there were certain things about it that I was willing to convert to, because I do believe that it's a healthier way of life. I do believe that it's a more disciplined way of life. But I'm not there right now, and I'm not gonna be there tomorrow, right? So like I feel like the browbeating that somebody would have to do to get me there is gonna be a lot of work, right? And then I'm here. I own 2 businesses. I have children. So like I still plan on moving to St. Croix, but I'm gonna have businesses here, so I'm gonna have to be back and forth. The person that's gonna have to be with me is gonna have to be willing to be like ready to move around. He's a true bushman. Like he grows what he eats and eats, like
Hey.
I go to the grocery store. Matter of fact, I don't even go to the grocery store. I order my groceries to be delivered. So
Okay. How are you? Are you okay after this breakup? Because it's fresh.
I'm fine. I'm
Sorry to that,
definitely
man.
fine. No, so I do think that like you gotta be willing, like I said, to be willing to recognize the things in yourself and the other person, and then be strong enough
True.
to walk away from it, right?
And stand on it.
Yeah, and stand on it. And that's the hardest part, because there's times when you're on the phone with somebody every day, all day, you be like, should I call him and just say hello? Nah. I'm gonna let this simmer for a little while.
That's real. That's real.
A lot of people be so tied into what their, what situation with that person, or the time that they spent with that person, they'd be afraid to walk away. And Candice, I really admire that you was honest with them, because there's a lot of people who are living a lie right now and been living it for quite some time.
I mean, I did it in my marriage, right? I did it in my marriage. I think I fit into every mold that everybody. And let me go back. Before that, I was a pageant queen, a debutante queen. I played every single sport. I did what everybody wanted me to do for so long that I didn't know what I wanted to do for myself. So like once you figure out your truth and your reality, like it's hard to get boxed in again. Like it's going to be really difficult. My son said that they were all placing bets on how long my relationship was going to last, because they know I can't deal with people for no long amount of time.
Your kids know my kids? Jeez.
They said they started placing bets. I said, so who won? They was like, it was like close. But this was the first person that they actually met. So I feel like at least I moved forward in that sense. Like I was willing to take a step further, but my kids are grown now, right? They're 22, 19, and 17. So like, I feel like I'm at a stage where like, they know I'm dating. They know mommy getting outside. So it's okay to like start letting them know what I'm doing and being honest with them too about how I feel about dating.
I think Renee had posed a question earlier about why we're going on a date if you don't like the person or something like that. Is that what I heard, Brian?
I want to get to that, but I've been holding this question, and this is a terrible transition from what we just talked about. Sorry.
Leave it to you. I'll leave it to you.
But I mean, how do you transition from, oh yeah, I was in a relationship, but we just broke up a couple of days ago?
It's Candice.
Yeah, like go for it.
So
what's the question?
So
there we go.
When you've talked about how you managed, I don't know if it was the first round or you learned from the first round, and then the second round you were kind of like speed dating, like let's get through this. You were over the whole 2-hour dinner date movie there, and you kind of transitioned into quicker dates. Some people will call them cheap dates, right? Where you do coffee, let me get to know you, and then we go from there. So Emmanuel Hart says something that brings us to that. Take a woman on a cheap date that will tell you if a woman really like you, because it doesn't matter where you take them if you're just going to sit and talk. So now the way that he puts it, I'm not all in on the way he put it, but there are women that consider that cheap dates and like you try and play them when you say, hey, let's just go get coffee. I technically don't see anything wrong with it, not because you're trying to play them or because you cheap. It's just because I don't know you. And the context is if we're trying to date, I want to at least have a real conversation. It should be about the conversation, not necessarily the atmosphere and the ambiance. I don't know if I even like to be around you. So you used to do the coffee dates. What do you think about those?
Those are the best dates to have. I want a coffee date, a juice bar. Like I want the quick dates because I told you I'm a vibes person, right? So like after we've gotten done talking on the phone and you done fed me whatever you want me to hear, when I get into your presence, we gotta listen to our body language. Like our body language is gonna tell us whether somebody makes sense for us or not. I think a lot of times we ignore that, right? Like you shake somebody's hand and their palms are sweaty. Like why? Like you're just coming to meet me for some coffee. Why are you so weird? So I definitely believe in the quick dates. I don't think that tells you whether she likes you or not. That tells you what her expectations of dating is, right? Like some people want that please shower me with roses type dates, and that tells you where they are as far as their expectation is. It doesn't tell you anything about how they feel about you. It tells you how they feel about what a date should look like or what we're taught a date should look like, right? Because we're taught the more that a man does on a date is how much he likes you. And we've coined that, and that's not necessarily the truth either. So I'm all for the quick dates. Let me have a conversation with you. By the time this coffee is finished, if I still like you, we could plan our second date. Who's on a date when they don't like somebody? I've never been on a date with somebody that I didn't like.
So I think what people need to understand, I can see that you're arguing in the comments. Okay? Like, let's recognize that. Y'all are going in on the comments. Chill a little bit. It's not that serious. So I think this was an exchange between her and another commenter, not calling no names, but I think I'm
Okay.
trying to find where it started for real, for real.
No, because I
Trying to see
think
where
I
it went.
don't. Well, I can't see the comments, but I guess I did say like, don't interrogate me on a first because I don't even sure if I really liked you that much. So I don't know if that was a response to that or something in the comments. But if I'm on a date with you, it's because there's something that you did that piqued my interest, or there's an attraction, mutual attraction, or whatever that may be, and we're trying to see if it's something that we both can build on or not. Going on a date don't mean like I'm like you like a person. It's me you're trying to get to know the person to know if you do like them or if you're building an interest in them. So your initial attraction is your initial attraction, which is what leads you to a date, and then from there is when you get to figure out the person, and you make a determination from there. So I don't know if there are any comments, but I don't know if it was related to that, which is why I want to piggyback to that.
Unfortunately, Neci, when it comes to some people, they don't always like the person that they're going on a date with, especially nowadays. Some people have alternative motives of going on a date with people.
Correct.
It's not because I like them. They'll be like, well, I'm free. I like a free meal. Yeah, you can
That's what it was. It was about the free meal. That's what it was.
Now, I had a lot of people in the first round say that that's what I was doing. I had a lot of people in the first round saying that I was looking for a free meal. And I was like, but I pay for some of these dates. So how am I getting a free meal? So that was one of the other things that like we had to establish, right? Like who pays for the dates? In the first round, that was a thing that was tossed around on every single podcast I did. Like, because I did other people's podcasts in the first round. And like one of the things that was tossed around a lot was who pays for it. And I said, whoever asked the other person out is who pays for the meal, like who pays for the date, right? So if I ask
that would
you
be simple.
Out, it's my responsibility to pay for the date. I
agree 1,000% with that.
Let's ask the Southern Belle. Miss Southern Belle, do you agree with that?
No, she don't.
No,
she don't.
Let me finish. If I ask you, then yes, I should pay. And I gotta admit, before I was committed to my honey bunny, before I was committed to him, I was dating and I was paying for some of them. But also I had a mindset too. Let me explain this mindset. I had a mindset too that definitely don't expect anything. I like to flip the script every now and again to get your gears running. you're not gonna like. Don't think that you're the only one who came here ready to pay. So there was a lot. There
Period.
was multiple times that I came out. You can hand me the check for both of us,
Uh-huh.
and I paid for it.
Uh-huh.
Now, and that tells you about the person that you're dating too, right? Because I took this guy out on a date one time and I paid for it and he got so offended. Like he
You will
got
have a
so
few.
offended.
You
He
will.
was
It
like, I ain't no
happens.
fucking bitch. No
Mhm.
woman don't need to be paying for nothing for me. And I was like, you right, sir. Get your lift home. You take that.
Period.
Like, I'm cool.
That's
Because
And
right.
like, why are
see.
you going back? You know what I mean? Like, this is over. What do you mean you ain't no bitch? Like somebody can't pay for a date for you? Like, that's crazy to me. So
I want to touch on this comment though.
go ahead.
Naisha
You will.
Minta
I
says
was so I was getting there. I was really getting there. I mean,
she
I
can see
was
the
getting there.
comments. She can see the comments, people. Don't believe what she's saying. But St. Croix people have that if you go on a date, you're sleeping with that person. This goes
Period.
back to
Facts.
the this goes back to the
Why? No, because it's not just. That's not the first time. There's a lot of southern places, deep southern places that believe that too. Oh, they dating that person, they got to be hitting that. Got to be. No, it's not even like that. Just because you're dating a person doesn't necessarily mean y'all gonna be in the bed that night. It doesn't mean that at all. But for some odd reason, that's like a thing out here. I don't know why.
That's
so
because they ass hot. Okay.
I'm gonna
They hot.
let the person with the most dating experience add context to why the Virgin Islands is like that, and then answer the question. Candice, take it away.
So here's my belief, right? And this is what I try to tell people about dating in the Virgin Islands. I think that because when I was going there anyway, it was only two major high schools, right? Complex and Central. You know these people your entire lives by the time y'all start to date. You know them from elementary school, y'all three middle schools. These people have followed you. If you live on the East End, you've known them from the time you was in kindergarten, right? So by the time y'all get to the dating phase, you're already together. I already know your family. We already did everything together. So the next step for us is to sleep together because the courting process is skipped. That's how I feel about dating back.
It sounds like
Like,
some
you just
arranged
skip
marriage.
that's pretty much what it comes down to. That's
So
except for the married part. Like they don't get married; they just call you their wife, but you're not actually married.
yeah.
You ain't gonna
So back
tell me
home
your
in the
wife.
Virgin Islands.
Definitely not.
Back home in the Virgin Islands,
Absolutely
it's a
not.
small town, small city type of thing where everybody knows
Period.
everybody, and the number one topic is your business, right? So there's certain places, and you might think this is funny. If you go to the movies with someone, you and that person together. Like if anyone sees you out, and you might listen, you and that person are betrothed. You hear me? You cannot go to the movies with a man, with someone of
Well,
the opposite sex, and not be tied down.
well, before my honey bunny, I would have been a harlot, and I would have been a harlot, a whore. She has to wear the red egg, walking right everywhere.
But what's
But
crazy about that is like, so when you become the harlot phase, right? There's a lot of men, like respectable men, that won't approach you anymore because
that
you've
is
gotten that label, right? So like the people that have the intention to be in a relationship is like, oh, she outside, so I ain't fucking with her. And which isn't the truth because you don't necessarily be fucking with these people, right?
not
And
at
So
don't
all.
go there more than once in the same week. Woo! You are
she
strumpet.
pregnant. She pregnant. I
Yeah,
ain't
yeah.
see her throwing up. She pregnant.
She a streetwalker.
Oh goodness.
A
Right. I would have been a
Jezebel.
Jezebel. They're like, what? I'm only dating the person. But there's a lot of like say for South Carolina where I'm from, they have the like especially older mindsets. They have that mindset of, especially if you've been dating for a while, she belonged to him. They together, you would date somebody else, that's so and so's girl. You can't date. They're not together. They together because we say they together, and I can't stand that mindset.
Oh, that's
I
St.
hate
Croix.
it.
That's St. Croix. My daughter's father is a very well-known person in the Virgin Islands, right? So I remember going back there. I was living there when she was like 2 years old. We hadn't been together in 2 years. And I would go outside and the first question people ask you when you have a child is, oh, so who's your child father? As soon as I would say his name, they would be like, oh, it was nice meeting you. What?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah,
everybody
yeah. You know
knows
this man,
everybody.
this man. He was everybody's cousin. Everybody respected him. Everybody, I don't want to fuck with him. It was one of two things. Either he was crazy, so they don't want to fuck with me because they don't want to have to deal with him, or they respect him. And I'm like, how y'all respect him? And he crazy. Like, make up your mind. What is he? But nobody would talk to me. And all the women that he have children for in the Virgin Islands, like, they haven't been with anybody but him in like over 20 years. Because nobody will fuck with them. They won't touch them after they've been with him. You have one of
And
his
then you
Move,
might
children.
have
baby.
beef.
It's okay to move. Go ahead and move,
And then
baby.
you might have beef with the baby mamas that you don't even know, don't even care
You
for,
understand me?
just because. Yeah, it's very,
It's very small minded, right? And like
Mm.
I wish that we would get past that, well, one day. I don't know when, because our older people like are still there. They're still there, and they're constantly like browbeating people to operate a certain way and deal with things a certain way. And like that's why I told you I'm really interested in having like older people on the panel, so we could kind of start to like see where we made a left when we should have made a right.
They that I believe that situations when I'm looking at Fatty Newton's comment, ain't nobody got that much power. It's a power that people give these people.
exactly.
They give them that power, and that's why it gets passed around like that.
It's a
You know,
power,
Because we
the
don't.
power of the words. We know we like to say words don't carry weight, but it
They
carries
do.
weight. And it can alter a person's life just by something a person says. So we can't, we shouldn't assume or presume that what people say. People be like, oh, I didn't really mean it. No, like what you said
It's
has serious implications for me. And whether you meant it or not, like you should have, we need to be more, we need to think things through a little more before we say things or spread things. Like Jano, if I be like, I hear so and so said so and so and so and so and so, right? And he won't have to question me because he know I will tell so and so to so and so face in front of that I told that so and so said so. So it's like, it's one of those things where he's like, but I don't be like, oh, well, I think I hear. I don't even go to. I don't be like I hear nothing because I don't have. If I have no proof, I have no in-depth knowledge. I wasn't there. I'm not doing any of that. So it doesn't. We really, as a culture, dating is just like for instance, like when Ja was here, me and Ja was roaming the streets. I was like, I tell Ja all the time, like Ja, Ja can't. Ja, he'd be like, let me go, and I'd be like, it's not even. I don't care about the perception of anything because he's my friend. People don't have. I could tell people don't have platonic friendships with people of the opposite sex. Like, but I have platonic friendships. But even being out of, but he's popular because of the whole podcast. And I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna run into more people. But that's me. I'm not that like bubbly person, but that's him. So for me, I'd be like on the side all the time, and he'd be like, man, come on, let's go. I'd be like, but people don't see that. People will see that I'm hanging out with him. I'd be like, oh look, oh they just doing podcasts for sure, but they really the be, and it would be so easy to convey that because all they see is me and him, and you don't know that we're conducting a business. We're hosting a panelist show. Guests are coming. That's what we're running around. Like people don't see that and convey that it's something other than a relationship where they're dating. It's they're together 2 days back to back, 3 days back to back. Then it's like something going on with them. Not that
yeah.
we were busy trying to get a whole podcast off the ground for a live event. You know what I mean? So it's kind of.
So the more we talk about it, right, the more it comes into perspective for me personally, because I used to look at it like from my perspective in the States, and I used to kind of look at it like it doesn't make any sense to me. But the more we talk about it, and the more I imagine a closed in, like contained environment, because they're surrounded by water. It's just them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a contained social experiment also, if you think about it, right? So everybody knows everybody. If you have one man that has multiple baby mamas, that means they have family that probably live there also. Their family may be in high positions. You don't know who their family is. You don't know all of them. And listen, you talk to one Felix,
You're done.
that's the island. They
Leave
have
the Felixes alone
75,000
after
cousins.
that.
So could you imagine you just going out to eat with someone and then he has multiple baby mamas and a baby mama see you out eating, and she have a family member that may be in a higher position, you looking for a job, this could affect your job now. You get what I'm saying? And it really does
I've
happen like
actually
that.
had that happen. I've
You
actually
see what I'm
had
saying?
that happen. So like, and it's crazy because it's not even just family anymore, right? Because when somebody's married to somebody or you have a child with somebody, now your family too. So I might say I'm avoiding all the Felixes, but one of the Felixes is married to a Snyder, and the Snyder is married to a Williams, and the Williams is married to a Todman, and now I got to watch out for all these last names just because I was dating a Felix and his feelings was hurt. You know what I mean? So like it's a dangerous game to play, and it's not. And they playing checkers. They ain't even playing chess. Like you're not playing fair. It's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't lock me out.
It's deep.
And that's why, like, I live my truth. Like, I'm not like worried about like hanging out, like I said, running around with Ja every day when he was here getting things done. I'm not worried about people gonna say what they're not gonna say because they're gonna say things regardless. So, I'm not here to explain that to them. But people are gonna make assumptions and they're gonna say things. And not that people said anything in terms of me and him. I was giving an example, but that's how easy something like that could turn into something else, and then people start to be like, yeah, and this and that, but without any factual evidence of anything. And like you said, a small contained island experiment, it's easy for it to spread around and become a real life breathing fire that you don't have to try to go on out that you didn't even know, but that's not even real to begin with. So dating is very like you have when people like they sneaking around, a sneaky link kind of thing, and doing things in secret, and maybe that's why they don't really date. They just end up moving in together and just being together. But I'm not for that. I like to go out. I like to experience our culture. I like to immerse myself in our events. I like to participate in things. If that's with my girlfriends or that's with a guy friend, then that's my.
So let me tell you, don't let him change your mood. Neci, don't let him change your mood.
I had a. Thank you, Candice. I had a.
Don't.
But
do
that can't. That's not really. What, Candice? Go ahead. I just.
I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story.
Ma'am, you are a professional. Don't let it happen no more, please.
No. I'm gonna tell you
Go
how
ahead.
funny this is. So I went to Sunny Isles Medical Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I got my pregnancy test done at. And I didn't think I could get pregnant. Like I had tried to get pregnant before and I couldn't get pregnant. So I didn't think the possibility was there. But the person that I got pregnant for, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be pregnant. So I started crying. I cried outside Sunny Isles Medical Center. The next day I packed up, I left St. Croix. I decided I didn't want to give birth to my child in St. Croix. And my mom calls me 2 months later and she's like, oh my God, you should have told us. We would have been there to help you. Like, why did you just pack up and leave? Like, this is crazy. You need people. And I'm like, I get it. I should have stayed. I should have told y'all what was going on. Da, 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 da. She was like, so what are they saying? Like, what treatments are they going to give you? And I was like, what treatments? Like, what treatments do I need? And she was like, Candice, this is serious. Like, you need to talk to somebody. And I was like, what are you talking about? The woman told me that the rumor on the island was that I got AIDS. They saw me crying outside the medical center and I got the pack. And that's why I packed up and left the next day. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm pregnant. That's what I found out. That's how it took 2 months to get back to my parents. But for 2 months, a rumor was being spread around the island about why people thought I was crying outside of Sunny Isles Medical Center. It's crazy.
I am sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. And that goes to show like someone saw you crying and no one had empathy to come over and say, are you okay? Do you need a hug? Like give you a tissue, like just let it out. But they can go back to report that, she has something because she's over here crying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the ignorance of the dating concept that can occur, you can't allow it to hinder you and your experience of going on dates, because there's always going to be an opinion that you're not going to agree with, and there's always going to be someone to say something that can hurt you. And you have to be mindful of what you want to do, what you want to present in the world, what you put on social media. And the one thing we didn't get to talking that we're going to talk about is dating on social media. Because I noticed that while we're doing 100 dates in 100 days, I don't see that on your social media. I see your blogs. I see your recap of your dates. I ain't seen who you out dating. I couldn't pick them out of a lineup to save my life or to win $1 million if I wanted to.
Date
Okay?
like Darren. We're
You know
talking to you.
what?
We're looking at you, date like Darren.
We're not looking that way at all. But
We're not.
like even the dating concept of dating socially, like people are free to post. People sat down on computers or on their phones and they created their social media pages that they maintain and they sign into and they make their posts and stuff about, and they could post whatever they want on their pages. If they could post every date they went on, or they post no date. If you don't like it, unfollow people.
That's it.
Just that
Like, it's
easy.
real simple. Like, I'm going to be on Candice page every day to see what she blog about. Be like, oh, she blogging about another dude again. She been on another date. And why am I even on her page?
That part. And that's why I said I don't go looking for. I'm very respectful. So and I'm getting texts by people that I date now. Because they follow me, right? They follow me. I don't hide what I'm doing. I tell them when I'm dating them that I do a podcast. I talk about dating. I will never expose you in that way, but I will talk about our experiences. I've had people like read the date experience that we have from like my recap and call me back and be like, you know what? Thank you so much for doing that, because I didn't even recognize I was doing that. And now I know that this is an action that I could correct. So I'm very like respectful of their privacy, because this is my story. It's not theirs for me to share, right?
Have you ever had the opposite impact of what you just said, where they saw your vlog and see what you said about them? They're like, who the you think you be talking
What
about
I've
me?
had-
And we had
something like that. What I've had is people like they think that it's a joke to me, like I'm doing the podcast as a joke. So they'll be like, "Oh, so I was just a part of your fucking game, huh? You just wanted to date me so you could blog about it." I've had that happen,
Ooh.
but I've never had like because I have time to waste, like to just date you so I could blog about you. No, I'm dating you because I'm interested in you, but I'm blogging about it at the same time. So I've had that experience happen, but I've never had he said, "Go ahead and make me famous." You want me to call his name? I ain't about to do that.
You thought. You thought.
I am
my
not
God.
doing that. Because he on here. I've seen his name like flash, but I'm not making you famous, honey. That's not
look,
for
we
me.
about to recap this whole thing.
Hey,
But
come
I've
to same difference and friends too.
Inspector Gadget Request.
you know
Come to
what?
this
I've
podcast
had
show.
one person that I dated in St. Croix tell me, like, you need to bring me on the panel too so we could talk about our experiences. I was like, you know what? One day I will bring you on my podcast and you could tell people how dating me was, right? Like, we could talk about it. But I'm not taking you nowhere else. But I don't have anybody that I have one person that I've ever been with or dated or been in a relationship in my entire life that doesn't speak to me, right? So like I think that the odds are still in my favor. I'm not a bad person to date. I know how to walk away before it gets bad. I know how to put people in a place in my life where they belong. Like if you were supposed to be my friend, you're gonna be my friend, because romantically I don't see it.
The comments coming in hot and heavy, so I don't want to be having people feel like they're ignoring them. I don't know if this question
Let's get to the
is geared
question.
towards what we're talking about, but we could do our rapid fire question segment. Emmanuel Hodge says, ladies, why y'all always get mad when guys ask for selfies when y'all take pics all the time?
Who gets upset for selfies?
What are we talking about, Manuel? Manuel, I need you to lay off the bottle. Put it down.
Hold up. We got to answer. Go ahead.
I don't have any problem with the selfies.
Not you.
It depends on the type of female, and also I think you need to clarify what type of selfies, because automatically some people assume that it's going to be inappropriate selfies, or they want. A lot of times I've also heard men saying, I want to feel special, so they don't want something they don't want something that's already posted. They want something that's taken differently that everyone hasn't seen. And who are you to get something that hasn't been posted? No, you go get the same one that was posted yesterday at noon and be happy about it. That's the way
You know
I
what? I
look
had
at it.
somebody ask me one time, and I thought it was really weird. They asked me if in between relationships, do you buy new underwear? Like, do you throw all of your old underwear out and buy new underwear? Yeah, if I get like these crazy questions like that, I get crazy questions like that. So how do y'all feel
What's
about
the
that?
concept behind that?
I guess
Because your new man shouldn't see you in the underwear that your old man saw you in.
You know what?
are
Why he
you
could lay
paying
down in
for
the
the new
same bed the
draw
other man lay
set?
down in besides me and right on top of me? Like, what are we talking about?
Did you see that post today that said that mattress is 8 relationships old? Change it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's time to get rid of it.
So, Emmanuel, selfies isn't a problem. Depends on what stage we're in if I'm
Nudes
even
are.
sending selfies, but I don't feel like it's a problem for selfies.
Don't ask for pics. If she likes you, you'll get attachments. Don't even ask.
Doesn't like pictures. Like I
Go
don't
on my
like
page
pictures.
and take one if you're my
If
friend, I
if you
guess.
are selfie type, if you the selfie type, you gonna send it. If not, you won't, and that's it.
True.
They need to stop applying the rules to the last girl to the new girl. Like she might have liked selfies. She might have liked
It's
sending
true.
nudes. I don't like pictures. Majority of the pictures that I like the best are the pictures that people took of me when I wasn't paying attention and they sent them to me.
Since I'm the only man on here, tell her you don't like pics. Watch what happens. Tell her you don't like news, you don't like none of that stuff. Watch what happens. Just like when I say don't DM me, leave me alone.
That part.
Oh, and then the DM you, I'll be like, oh, why you don't want me to DM you? Why? But
As our mother stunt don't listen.
You're fucking hard-headed. That's why.
But I digress. But I digress. So tell them the opposite. See what happens. See if it works. I mean, test it.
Somebody comment on my page talking about really and truly Facebook is a business. What? Like where are these?
It is. I mean, everybody getting paid now.
Well, why? Like, why did you just comment that? Like, what about this conversation says Facebook is really a business? Like, I don't know. I don't care.
people don't pay everybody, though. They're very stingy. Mark's stingy. Y'all know that.
That's true. No,
Somebody asked
what?
it and make him ask.
Wait, this is on your page? They ain't on the live?
So let me tell you, I have people on the live that is texting my actual phone, and then I have people that's on my live that's commenting on my live. So I just told him go to your page and ask the
This
question.
is why I don't get second dates, you know. You check like she's
He
on
said,
here talking
what about
live.
females who post pics of a new boo every 2 months? It's her
What
page.
I got to do with you?
It's her page. She could
What I
post
got to do with you?
whatever she wants until Mark Zuckerberg says no and she's black. You know, I've
And if you
never
have a
gotten
problem with it,
suspended
just
off of
unfollow
Facebook.
her.
Like,
Let me
if it's her
help
boo-
you all out, fellas. Let me help you all out, fellas. Stop asking about body count. Stop asking what do you bring to the table. Stop asking for pics. Stop asking for nudes. Stop sending random dick pics. Like,
Please. Nobody
what we
wants
still
to see
doing
that.
this? You will know if she wants that. You will get it if she wants to send it. You literally don't have to ask. If you ask, you are already in the lower echelon, sir. If you
You
have to
definitely,
ask, you're
if you have
not
to
him.
ask, you're not even in the first draft pick.
You're
Not
not
even the second or
him.
third, honey.
You in the NBA ain't gotta sign an NDA.
It's giving bench warmer.
And you ain't playing this season.
Let me tell you something. There has been people that I was attracted to all my life, right? Like, oh my God, like if I was ever get a chance to talk to, because I was shy in high school. I know it doesn't seem that way now, but I was really, really shy. I didn't date anybody in high school because I was so freaking shy, right? And then when I finally like branched off, I graduated early, so I got amongst like adults a whole lot sooner than I should have been. But when I got to meet them now, like as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with me? I don't even ask what was wrong with them. What was wrong with me? Like, why did I think you were attractive? Why did I think you had any kind of values? Like, I don't know. It is what it is.
So why don't more people ask those questions, right? Why, like, you don't had 17 relationships in 3 years, but why do you think in this day and age it's so hard to just, maybe it's something I'm doing wrong, maybe I should switch up, maybe I should do something different? Why do you think those questions don't get asked?
Because we think we're perfect.
I think, yeah, I was gonna say, I think that mostly women I hear say is that I'm the prize, and I come to find, I mean, I've come to realization that even the circus gives out prizes too. So you have to be more clear what kind of prize you are, because not every prize is of value or priceless.
I
Because
actually
I cannot
told
done three ball at the prize, three ball at the fair and got a prize off the shelf. Is that the prize that you're really displaying, or are you some prize that I have to go in some exclusive boutique and have a certain pass or a certain type of a status to be able to get in to see the possibility of what the prize could be? So you have to be clear when you're saying you're the prize, what that means, because there's different kind of prizes that different kind of values that means absolutely nothing and replaceable, and some things are invaluable.
I told somebody that once in a breakup. I told them that they were a cereal box prize, right? Because you remember how excited we used to be about
To
like
open the cereal
box?
and get a toy.
Man,
I love my Cracker
everybody
Jacks,
wanted
big up
to be
Cracker
you.
Jacks, the Cracker Jack
Man,
toys.
used to dump this box upside down and try to search for this prize, and then used to get it, and it used to be a fucking spin top. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did I just wait to do that for? So I actually told somebody that in a breakup one time. I was like, "You're a prize. You're absolutely right. You're a fucking cereal box prize. Get the fuck out my face."
You know the problem I have with calling yourself the prize, a prize doesn't do anything. It just sits around and it is. You know what I'm
And
saying? Like it just is there. And then the other person have to do all the work to attain this thing. But what can you do with a prize? You just sit it on a shelf and it looks pretty. So I mean, y'all look into the words people use because there's a reason that they use those words, right? I'm a words guy. So from the time you start saying you a prize, so that mean I gotta do all the work to win you, and then I can just rest you down
On
and
the shelf.
there goes your boy. So I'm gonna answer this because Darren, you be trying to get yourself in trouble. I'm trying
wait,
to
which one? Which one? Wait a minute,
I be trying to help you, Darren. So like,
Oh boy.
I don't know that it's necessarily recognition that they have personal issues more than they have like bad learned behaviors, right? So like we have to unlearn a lot of things, but how do you unlearn it if nobody's told you that it's wrong? Like if you're in this isolated place, like we said, you're sitting on an island, right? Everybody believes in the same thing. Then why do I have personal issues? I learned this. Somebody taught me this. I believe it to be true because the person that taught me, I trusted. So until you leave that box, there's no reason for you to believe anything otherwise. So I think we need to stop saying so hard, like people, like how we were saying earlier, like people have red flags, but they're not always red. Like sometimes they're pink. It may not be a personal issue or a toxic trait. It may just be a learned behavior that they didn't recognize or nobody's told them is wrong. Stop
At what
labeling
point?
people, Darren.
At what point is it? There's a like. At what point do we hold people accountable to be self-aware? Like if you're still doing these things that you've been doing at 30 something, 40 something, at what point is it like somebody had to have said something and you just don't care?
That's when we hold them accountable. When I've said something to you and you tell me, well, this is how it's always been. Now it's your fault, right? Because at that point, you're not recognizing that it's an issue. And you're telling me just because it's the way it's always been doesn't mean that it's right. Right. So you have to be able to take accountability, or like you have to be able to recognize that the things that you do may not necessarily be the truth. Right. And even if nobody else shows it to you, like I said, in the first round of dating, nobody told me that I was doing anything wrong. I recognized it myself when I started going on different dates with people from different walks of life. I had only known one. I had only known one for the past 18 years of my life. So what he was doing and what I was doing, the situation that we created for ourselves, I was right. I had told myself I was right. But then when I went outside and I started dating other people, I recognized how wrong I was.
Miss Karmea, you've been fairly quiet. I know you had several questions. You got any more?
Oh no, I'm just listening, and these comments is on fire. I'm just in the
I
midst
ain't
of it,
even
and
reading
I'm
them
just
because I'm
like,
trying not to
wow.
get them to piss me off.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing against you.
because when you talk about the prize, I've heard older folks say that when I was younger, but like, baby, you the prize. Make sure while you be the prize that you have your cards in order when he comes to the table too. So you lay your cards out, he lay his out if he have any. Hopefully he does, because we don't want you marrying down. Um, and when I hear prize, I think of something different, but I do understand where you're coming from, Ja. But I
No,
look
go
at it
ahead.
as I look at it as it's an this may sound bad, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to clean it up.
Nah, just say it. Nah, say it.
I I am an investment that's built and that's continuing to build. So I need to see if you're gonna be a good addition, or are you gonna be a liability. That's the way I look at it personally.
I think we both, like both men and women, should be assessing a relationship or dating as an investment. I think both
Mm,
parties should be doing that, male, female, whatever. Um, because if you think about it, if you look at it as a financial thing, you invest in money into the dating. If you look
right.
at it as a life partner looking for one, it's a
But
lifelong
as
investment.
soon as you say investment, especially to some men, as soon as you say investment, oh, she all about money. Let me keep it moving. She all about money. That's the first thing she talk about. Well, money's included, but you got scared about that word because finances was included. But there's no romance without finance, baby. That's the way it works.
All right. Should
Thank
men be
you.
concerned?
We do that too. So let me be the devil advocate, right? The minute that
Uh,
a man starts talking about investment, we automatically think he wants sex, right? So like
Mm,
both of our brains are wired to believe certain things, right? So we believe that a man wants our body and he gonna have sex with everybody because that's what's important to him. But that's what I'm saying about learned behaviors. Those are things that we're taught. So that's why it's important to ask people, like, what does an investment
mm,
mean to you,
yeah.
right? And they have to, and when they start stumbling on it, like, make them sit back and think about what it is that they want. I'm one of those people that I need to read the book from the end to the beginning, right? Because I need to know what my end result is, like what I hope to gain. So do you add value to my life? Can I add value to yours? Like, because if it's only going one way, it's not gonna last at all.
Mm,
I
I
like
agree.
that. It's true. That's
I
fact.
agree. I agree. I mean, I agree with both perspective. And I think Carmia, like you said, when your
Yeah.
parent, back in the day when we said we were a prize, I think we have to understand too in that concept, women were the prize because that was how you were considered to be valued. If someone marries you because you couldn't do anything else but be a housewife or a spouse, that was what considered being a prize was back in the day. So we were raised a certain way to look a certain way, walk a certain way to attract a potential husband so we could be married and have some type of value to be prizes. But now, I mean, there's a different way that we
it's
can
more
look at
than
it. Like you
that.
said, it's an investment, it's a long term process. We both have things that we both bring to this relationship that could benefit both of us. It's not
Hmm.
one sided. So while I'm not disputing anyone who is a prize, who isn't a prize, I'm just saying that when we're using a concept, just know prizes have different values and different contexts. Be more clear what kind of prize you're portraying yourself to
Right.
be if you're a prize or whatever investment that you are, because there are investments that could run you broke and send you to jail, and there's investments that can make you a millionaire or make you self-sufficient or whatever that may be. So you have to be more
Facts.
clear about what type of investments and prizes we're portraying to the public.
Facts.
Yeah.
Correct.
Facts.
I think our value before was being able to be childbearing, right? Like that was a woman's
Mm.
value for so
Yeah, to be
long.
married, yep, married, yep, and bear children, yep.
So the more children you could have, the more value you had, and a lot of people held that in high regard. So like I tell people when
That
they
should be
say
the
that,
fruit,
yeah, and I used to say all the
not
time,
me.
like people used to say that, it's too much work to date today. Think about it, right? Like back in the 30s, before you was able to date somebody, you had to go sit down and have dinner with her entire family.
I'm so sorry,
Aya,
Candice.
go ahead. Aya,
Me
chill in the
leaving,
comments.
me
Chill.
even asked me
It
yet,
is
but you gotta come sit down with
gasoline
my
and fire
entire
in there,
family and
right?
have dinner, and then they have to feel you out, and then you have to ask my father in front of everybody, like if it's okay to date me, or
Really?
yeah, but that's how people were dating before, right? Because you dated with the intention to marry, not the
Yeah.
intention
And
to
chaperone, and then you were chaperone because you couldn't be
push
seen
it.
walking with her. Correct. Yeah.
It was disrespectful. So like people think that it's work now.
Mm.
That was the work. You can imagine sitting down to dinner with my entire family? Please. First thing, my brother's gonna roast your ass for half the dinner. Like that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna tear you down. And then if you could survive, and then you gotta hold your tongue, right? Because you gotta be respectful. So like, because you still sitting in front of my parents. These kids now, like, they wanna send you a message and shoot you $40 and be like, meet me at such and such. Like, what? I look at the
So
way my sons date, and I'm just like, I could never.
wait, are they not dating right? Can't be, because they get you as their mom. They
So
gotta be dating
my
right.
kids are so like y'all think I'm bad, right? My kids ain't no joke. My son dated a girl for a couple. He's in high school, right? Dated a girl for a couple weeks, broke up with her, and he said because she lacks communication skills.
I
And
like the guy. I like the guy.
so, but it got so bad to where she was coming to his classroom every day, begging him to get back with her. She had her mother call him to
Crown
beg
him
him to get back with her. And the mother
king.
actually did it. I was like, he was like, Mom,
King.
he was like,
Salute
Let
this
me
Mom,
tell
toxic
you
king,
I'm not
man.
able
something.
to handle this.
He should
He
have.
was like, because I don't want to be disrespectful to her mother, but I'm not getting back with her daughter. I was like, I'll handle the disrespect for you. Don't worry, I got you. I got you. Bitch,
That
if you
sounded like my
come
son.
again.
His cutoff game
Oh,
strong.
oh,
I was like,
oh,
was
I'm
she
proud of him.
crying and stuff? I was like, you don't feel bad? He was like, no. I told her what my boundaries were in
Oh,
the beginning. She
oh,
didn't
and he
understand.
stood on it. You can't
I
get
was
you
like,
you
what?
can't get mad at somebody for telling you
Hey,
straight, hey, this is what it is. I can't do this. You can't
He
yes.
get
said,
mad at that,
he
but
said,
people get
he said,
mad.
I gave her 90 days to correct the action.
Hey, he know his worth. He's standing on his standards.
But you don't expect a
Know your
16-year-old to
worth,
talk like
King.
that, right? You don't
Know
expect
your
them to be like,
worth.
Hey,
look, I gave her 90 days to correct her action. She didn't correct it. So I had to let
Gave
it
him
go.
a probationary period of 90 days. That's right.
and
I
she did
agree.
not adhere to the instructions. I ain't mad at that at all. At
No.
all. He need to stay with that day. That need to be his way of doing things because like
He put her on a PIP, a performance improvement program of
Look, she
90
even had
days.
to meet like certain grade requirements, right? Like
oh man.
his GPA is a
So
4.58,
if you
and
don't
her
think I'm worth
GPA was
you
lacking. He
making
tutored her.
yourself better,
Yeah, he
PIP,
was like,
I like the guy. I like
he
the
was
guy.
like,
performance
her
improvement
GPA isn't where I
program,
need
90
it to
days.
be. He was like, I can't. It's not my responsibility to teach her. Her parents should have done this. I was like,
Question for the panel, right? We touched a little bit on, modern traditional stuff. So I do want to ask about that. What do you ladies have to say on, you know, women wanting traditional men and traditional treatment, but not behaving in the traditional way? Is that something that can work? Because like it seems like they want to behave in a hybrid way, but want the older 70s, 60s type of guy to approach them. How does that work? Because like if you want traditional all the way, right? First of all, I'm not supposed to pay for the wedding. Your father is.
Correct.
If you want traditional, we supposed to date for real and romance and all of that stuff, and we ain't supposed to be like holding hands is like third base. You know what I mean? Like them kind of things. So how can you do what you want to do while expecting the guy to move like your father or his father?
It
well,
has
my
to be a
daddy
lot
was
of
a hoe, so I don't know. My daddy was a
Oh,
hoe. No,
and
let me
they
stop.
romanticizing them periods, and a lot of us came from broken homes. But I digress.
So I don't. first of all, I ask people what traditional means to them, right? Because traditional means something different to everybody. I ask people, do they believe that men and women have certain roles? And then if they say yes, I ask them, what are those roles, right? Because if you believe that a woman is supposed to be at home cooking, statistics show that 85% of the chefs in the world are men. So why are women supposed to be the cooks? Like, I don't understand how that makes sense. Like, so I ask people what their roles are and what it means to them, and then to make sure that it aligns with what our strengths and our weaknesses are. So I don't, but asking people what traditional means, I think is important. Like, start there, right? Because traditional may not look the same to everybody else. Traditional is traditional in the Virgin Islands is a man having 2 baby mamas on the same street and they're neighbors and they know each other. That's tradition. So
You're offending her southern hospitality. What about
Just
you, Karmea? What you think?
so when it comes to it's a conversation that needs to be had between both people because you got to see where everyone's at, what page they're on. But I just, for myself, I'm not. That's why I'm unorthodox because I could uphold certain things, but I work and I take care of myself too, and I'm able to hold you down as well as a man if you allow me to. Not well. Wait a minute. When we say hold down, we gotta figure that out too. What are we doing when it comes to that? How am I covering you? How are you covering me? All that type of stuff. But I still want to be able to be in my feminine energy as well as help you. I still want to be in the feminine energy as well as help you. I just think it's a conversation that needs to happen between you and that person to figure out what exactly do you want and how can you meet in the middle. And if you can't meet in the middle, then keep it moving.
That's
Don't
fair.
waste each other's time
That's fair.
because
What
some
about you,
people
Nisi?
can do like if you're with a man who can't do the hybrid situation and be like, well, I need you to be traditional. Well, I'm not about to do that. Well, keep it moving. That ain't your person.
Yeah.
That don't try to change them. Don't try to try to fix it. Don't try to put things where it's not supposed to be. Just keep it
That
moving.
part. That part.
That just work with who work with you. Don't try to make things fit that don't. I'm seeing a lot of people trying to work with stuff that doesn't fit, and I'm just like, if it
And they
doesn't
stay
fit,
too
babe,
long.
let it go, babe, because it's just causing more damage. And you could be with somebody that can actually fit. Just take your time, figure out what pieces you need to put together. If it doesn't fit, let it go.
All right. Nisi, what you guys say?
Well, I'm not big on the traditional values because I just don't like the whole hierarchy of how it was conceived and created. It was a process created to control women, particularly. We had no rights to vote. We had no right to we couldn't even go to the bank and open bank accounts till recently. Like my mom was alive when women had the right to be able to open a bank account, and that's crazy to me. So I don't like the whole process of the traditional values. I think what as women we typically just take from it is the men asking you to be married and be the 100% provider. But men were 100% providers because women weren't allowed to work and make incomes. You couldn't do that. So that's why men provided 100%. Now, I have no problem if you want to continue to do that. I wouldn't call it traditional unless you're planning to be a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home, the whole shebang that goes with it. If you want to do that, that's great if it works for you. But if that's not what you're looking for, don't call it a traditional relationship. It's not traditional. You want a man who's going to provide, that's great, but don't use the word traditional. That's just my
Mm.
take on the traditional concept.
I I have another thing too. What Renee
Go ahead.
Wallace said just now. She said when a woman is taken out of her masculine survival mode, she will automatically switch to bring feminine and want to be buttery, protected, and provided for. And in turn, her submission is a gift, and she would naturally cater to a man. That I definitely do believe. Because if you, it's the saying that I used to hear adults use all the time. It's just I used to hear my grandparents and aunties say, well, if you create a heaven for that angel to be in, then they will be angelic. They will automatically be naturally like that. You're creating a heaven for that angel to dwell in. Then
So
she'll also create she'll also create a kingdom for you to be king and reign over.
There are some factors that get ignored when these types of things get said. Like for one, men, there are men that are givers and men that are takers. There are also women
Yes.
that are givers and takers. When you assume that a woman, if you do everything that you can as a man, she will automatically switch into some mode where she caters back, is untrue. Because
It does depend on the woman though. Like, yeah, you're right.
that's what I'm saying. Like we can't just say, oh, so saying this suggests that if a woman is not operating in a certain way, it's because her man. It's putting the responsibility
Mm.
on the man. It's
Yeah.
automatically assuming that if she ain't operating in her feminine, it's because he's not being masculine enough or in the right way. It's relinquishing responsibility, right? That's one issue. Another issue is the fact that people need to understand that when a woman has been operating a certain way for a certain time, she needs to unlearn certain behaviors.
Oh,
Sometimes it's not just a switch that flips. If you've been single for a long time, you've been
doing
doing
your own
everything on
thing.
your own for a long time, suggesting that a man could just come in and treat you a certain way, and then all of a sudden, boom, you in your feminine, it does not
Nope.
work that way. A lot of the
I
times the
don't like
dude
that
has to.
masculine and feminine stage. I don't like hearing
I'm
that.
just playing along
Neither
with it.
me.
I'm just playing along because I
Safe
hate
Oh,
it
space,
also.
maybe, right? Like I gotta feel safe with you, and you don't have the
yeah.
ability to make me safe. Like that's something that's gonna happen naturally, right? Like I'm gonna be in your presence, and I'm gonna feel safe, and I'm gonna feel comfortable, and I'm gonna get vulnerability more than femininity, right? Like I don't like using that masculine feminine thing. That scares me.
I don't like it either, but I'm just playing along with it because it's just that the soft things is what gets put under that feminine umbrella. So that's what I'm rolling with right now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all have to understand that you have to unlearn certain behaviors for yourself. Like a man could come in and he be doing everything right. If you're not ready to move into that stage of
Mm.
stage of your life or that season, you won't. It doesn't matter what the man is doing or how he's doing it or whatever. If you've been operating this way for a long time, you need to unlearn it first, and that's on you.
Agreed. Agreed. And as someone who's been single for a while, I mean, John knows, you know what I mean? Like when somebody comes in your space, right? Like you said, is that an automatic like, oh, I'm gonna just be like this thing to this person? No, like there's real things, like real moments that come with like, I like my space. I'm okay with being alone. Like some people can't be by themselves, they can't be alone. Not that I don't want a companion, but being alone means that I can sit by myself in my quiet thoughts and I can be okay with that. Or I can be okay with all my thoughts. Some people can't do that. They have to have someone around them all the time. So for someone to come in my space, it's like for me to make that space for them to be there because I'm accustomed to being by myself. It's an adjustment. It takes time. There's going to be anxiety or there's going to be whatever I need to go through for that space to occur. There's no switch for that. And so that's a real thing where I know what I want and I'm okay with what I want and I continually work towards what I want. But I also know my reality of my comfort zone of being single and what that is, the space that I need to adjust to. It's a process. And it's a process that I have to be committed to in order to get to the other side when someone is trying to be in my space. So that's a real facts, just speaking, I will say, truth. And then, like you said, the masculine feminine thing, I don't feel like it's gender specific. I feel like anyone could be
No, it's
masculine
not.
and anyone could be feminine. There's
Hmm.
some women out here that can be feminine for their life. Not knocking them. But it's the truth. We see it in people's personality all the time. And that's just the reality of it. Ain't no man gonna come in certain woman's space and she'll just be like all soft and feminine afterwards. It's not going to happen. But you have to be authentic to yourself and the space you're living in. I live in my feminine space as a single person because that's the space that I'm in. So
Exactly.
for me, if someone comes in, he's not making me more feminine to that situation. I'm creating a space to allow him to see my femininity and experience that, but it's not that it's like I'm no because I'm taking care of myself doesn't mean I'm masculine. It just means that
Correct.
I'm an adult, I'm a
An
person, I have
adult.
responsibilities, and I have to take care of
It's
myself.
the
But if
adulting
I'm not
for
taking
me.
care, yeah, an adult. If I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not sitting waiting on someone to take care of me to feel like an adult or feel like I'm feminine. I do things that builds into my femininity that I experience all the time. I tap into that energy and I embrace it. So when someone comes, it's already available.
So
So
yeah, she preaching. That's what we call her, the people's champ. She preaching today. I just want to take a second to address this. So Ronnie
that you
Rollins said
run.
outright that I'm wrong,
Why?
right?
Why you want to address that? Like, does it make
No,
sense?
no, no, no. I'm just gonna challenge her thinking and just we're gonna wrap up here shortly. Imagine this. Imagine telling someone with experience, "Oh, you're wrong. That doesn't happen." Because if you think about it, right? If you haven't dated women, you know how you behave and you know what other women have told you. I'm talking from a place of experience. I have stories. Do you? So for you to tell me I'm wrong, imagine how that comes off. Like if I was to tell you what sex is like with a man, I've never done it. So if you tell me and I just say say you're wrong, do women ever contemplate that? You're telling a man that have dated a lot of women. No, that's not what happens. So
What's even
you
worse,
basically
me and you could date the same exact person and we could both have two
have a
Two
different
different
experience because that
experiences.
person was
Yep.
different with you because of
Mhm.
who you are to them.
exactly. So like you
So
bring certain energies out of certain people. So that's why I don't entertain conversations like that. Because yes, sweetheart, that's your experience.
yeah,
Sorry that you had a terrible life.
easy.
But like that's not my experience. So like I could only speak on, and I always start my podcast with like I'm not a professional, this is my experience. I could only speak on my truth because it's my truth. But at this point I've been on at least 200 dates, right? Because my dating
Hmm.
like didn't start 3 years ago. At least 200 dates. So how are you gonna tell me that what happened to me on my date didn't happen? You were there. Like, I'm confused. I get that your experience might be. Somebody told me that they can never go on 100 dates, right? I've never been on 100 dates in my life, but they were in a relationship with somebody for 10 years. So you're in a relationship for 10 years and you haven't been on 100 dates? I'm sorry.
Dating should be a part of the relationship.
That's it. And that's a requirement for me. You cannot, and I tell people this, when you start dating me, it does not stop at relationship, right? Once we enter relationship stage, you don't get to say, well, I already got her, so I'm not going to date her anymore because I will leave your ass. I don't have no problem walking away. I'm the walk away
At least
queen
we
at this
get it.
point.
We're gonna make this
Right.
sign. She gonna leave you.
I will leave
She does.
your ass.
We need a and scene sign. That's what we need. And scene.
Yeah. Because
Uh,
I don't
you
understand why you saying that it's not his place to make us up. It's
can
not
can
anybody's
you
place to
can a
make us
man
up.
make you soft? You coming to me as a woman or not? Are you coming
I'm
to
not
me as a
trying to make
feminine
you
woman or
wet.
not?
Cut it out. Let's stop. It's not somebody else's responsibility. Cut it out.
You are not spaghetti. I'm not boiling water. I cannot make you a soft feminine person. Either you are or you aren't. Either it's in you or it isn't. You hear how stupid it sounds when I say I'm in my feminine right now. I'm just waiting for that right woman to come and put me in my masculine era. No, I gotta come to you knowing how to be this man. Right? I gotta come fully potential. So
That's why we
please.
have too many people that identify with. I identify with being a chicken today, right? Like that's that same mentality. Like I'm gonna identify with being in my soft girl era today, and tomorrow I'm gonna identify with being a fucking goat, and tomorrow the day after that I'm gonna identify. Stop identifying. Somebody can't make you something that you're not. Take time out, look in the mirror, decide. I had a conversation with somebody earlier, and she's on here, so she could chime in if she wants to. I said to her, it makes no sense to date somebody right now because right now you're not happy with where you are. So whoever you meet in this era of your life, when you do become happy with who you are, they're not going to fit anymore. So then you're going to have to make two choices. Do I keep them because I feel obligated now because they were here with me when I was down bad? Or do I leave them and now they're going to feel like now that I'm doing better, I left them? Leave people alone until you are where you need to be, until you can identify with who you actually are.
Boom. Boom.
I just
All
wanted
right.
to piggyback on that comment about
Go
the
ahead.
soft thing. I just want to say it's not that it's not a man make you soft. He created a space to make you vulnerable and comfortable with him, that he brings down you bring down your wall to allow him to see that your soft side of you. People go through things and they build a wall to prevent people from getting into their space. It doesn't mean that that person doesn't exist within them. It's just that I'm not giving that access to any and anyone because I've been hurt too detrimentally that I can't experience that hurt again. So they create walls or barriers for that. It doesn't mean that it's not within them. So it's not that the person isn't already soft, is that you ain't going through this wall to get over here into my soft space. But if you come in with the ability to break down my barriers to allow me to feel comfortable to be this person with you, that space of me will exist. It's not created, it's already within me, and I'm now allowing you to have access to that version of me.
I want to piggyback on that because I
What
think
is within it was?
We gonna run out of pigs. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think a lot of times a lot of people think that hurt gets initiated in a relationship that you were in, right? Like a lot of our hurt comes from our childhood. Our walls were built then, our expectations were built
Correct.
back then. So like I know she just said that's not what I said. We were twisting our words. Be careful on what you say. Mean what you say and say what you mean, because that is what you said. That may have not been what you meant, right? And I get that. I get that may have not been what you meant, but that is not what you said. So a lot of our vulnerability comes from back then. And until we unpack why we're vulnerable, why we're not in a safe space, why we can't let people in, we're setting ourselves up for failure, right? And that's why I said those are a lot of things that I learned about myself. A lot of my trauma in relationships came from what I saw other people doing, right? I hadn't seen a real successful or what I deemed as a successful relationship growing up, right? But I had to recognize that success comes in different packages. As long as that couple is happy with what they're doing, then they're successful. It's just not what I want from myself.
All right, thank you. Renee Rollins, you want to come on? We'll do it again.
What your friend post just now? What was that message she put up just now? I didn't even get to read it.
We ain't doing that. So we're wrapping up right now. So Renee,
I
you
saw
want
when
to
it
come on?
disappeared. I didn't get to read it. I'll find it in the comments. Go ahead.
So, final words, ladies. I don't even know where to start now because we got two guests. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Karmea.
First, Karmea, tell the people where they can find you, how they can get in contact with you if they need to, bookings, whatnot.
Okay. Well, of course, I'm co-host on the Gentlemanstyle Podcast. So you can find us on YouTube as well as here on on Facebook, Instagram as well. Or you could check out my Instagram. It's Karmea_love, and that's on Instagram and TikTok. I'm Karmea Kiss. Facebook, you can find me under Karmea Wells. My last words is that this has been an amazing show today. For the people in the comments, be nice to each other. Because y'all had gasoline and fire in there tonight. Gasoline and fire. But this has been a great conversation. And I think we should take it away as, we're adults. We're learning things even further as we go. We're still growing. We're still learning ourselves as well as getting with other people and learning them too. So have a little bit of grace. But while you're having that grace, take your time, but don't waste each other's time.
I like that. I like that. Why are you laughing?
She's really mad right now.
Was somebody in your post? That's why I need to read these.
She said the show is one-sided. It's literally 3 women, 1 man. I'm not.
I think what she means by one-sided is that we're all evolved and we all don't think one particular way, right?
I mean, you're not ready for. Hey, whenever you're ready, come on. It's all love. We could exchange ideas. That's what the show is about, exchanging perspectives. It's not even like I'm trying to attack you. I just disagree. Just from my experience, that's not what I agree with. And I wouldn't say that you're wrong, you know. I didn't say that you're wrong. I just disagree. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you clearly said that it's just not your experience. She said
Yeah.
you were wrong.
As a man that has dated a lot of women, like in my experience with that.
I don't know. Maybe she dated some women. Did you date some women, sweetheart? Maybe that's what
She
we need
may
to do.
have the numbers though. I'm talking experience. You get what I'm saying? The numbers.
No,
I
maybe she
guarantee the numbers. Listen, if she point up them, you check. If she point, we could talk. But I interrupted. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Final
That's
words,
what my
man.
son said I need to do anyway. They said I need to start dating women or white men. So any white men out there, holla.
You know
Never
what,
dated
honey?
like that
Expand your
before.
horizons.
I've never dated or been in all the dates that I've been
Expand
in. I have
expand your
never dated
horizons.
outside of my race. So
Expand your horizons. It's a whole world of different flavors out here, baby.
Try out the.
you
I
know what? I've
can't
just
say
never
that.
seen anybody
Java
outside
can
of my
lose.
race that I was attracted to.
I,
So like
I almost get blocked. I was scared restricted. Try it out. Try it out.
we did agree to disagree, Sha. Okay. You can find me on Instagram, 100 Dates in 100 Days, YouTube. I think it's Nala8199 because 100 Dates and 100 Days actually already existed while y'all sitting here talking about me. And I'm not giving anybody my Facebook page, so y'all stay off of there. It is my final words is make sure that you know who you are yourself first. Set clear boundaries and expectations, but don't be unrealistic with them. And enjoy it, right? Like enjoy dating. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to want what you want. But have fun and stop taking this thing so seriously. It's not a relationship, it's a date. Learn the difference between the two and then enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then you're doing it wrong.
Neci, what you got? What you got?
Enjoy
Well,
the
I just
ride.
want to say thank you, ladies, very much for the interesting perspectives. I learned a few things. I challenged a few things. And most importantly, this is our opinion. It's not a give all, tell all for you to live in your personal life. Do what's best for you. Be open to evolving. Be open to growing. And know that life is full of opportunities, so embrace them. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I'm about to go jump in the comments and see what's up. And till next time.
I ain't even doing it. I ain't
Yo,
even doing it.
Seeing Difference. Follow us on Seeing Difference on Facebook at Seeing Difference 2022 on IG, Same_difference_pod on TikTok, and go to the YouTube at VI_very_own. I don't know why everybody was so hot today. People were a little bit spicy in the comments, but it made it fun. As you can see, I'm smiling.
I evoke that from people. You don't recognize that? Like I feel like I
It gotta be. That's what I'm saying. You're the fire starter. I'm laughing. I had a blast. This was fun. We just sharing ideas. Nobody on the panel is a expert, a therapist, a PhD, none of that stuff. We're just sharing our experiences, our opinions, our perspectives. We thank you for coming through. We appreciate you. Stay tuned for the next Same Difference and Friends 2. And stay tuned on our pages to keep up with what we got going on. We love you guys. Thanks for coming through. Peace.